welcome to our lecturer, Dr. Nazrin. And my name is Noreen Aqilla Binti Kamaruzaman. Metric number is B0519100035. And my friend.
Hi, my name is Tuan Hanim Binti Tuan Hussin. My metric number is B0519100034.
My name is Nik Muhammad Shahiran Amir bin Saharudin, and my metric number is B0519100038.
Today, we would like to present about Microsoft Azure in Manufacturing Cloud Service. Here is a little brief about the Cloud Azure in manufacturing. The needs of secure remote access to factories and customer asset is accelerating the digitalization of the manufacturing. Today, smart factories generate millions of gigabytes of data. The opportunity to reimagine manufacturing and its impact on our life is only bound by legacy data and the process. Welcome to Microsoft Cloud for Manufacturing Unified Disparate Data Source across the end-to-end value chain from the factory floor to the customer door. Transform the way frontline workers safely and security make a product and deliver value to the customer through the product as a service that can connect device and data to people, workflow and the business process like only Microsoft can. Microsoft Cloud for Manufacturing unlock the power of factory with trusted and secure solution including Azure Cloud Manufacturing through a standard-based community like the open manufacturing platforms and core innovation which extensive partner ecosystem. Microsoft's mission is to empower every person and every organization to take it. I will tell about the history of Microsoft Azure. Microsoft Azure is a cloud service platform that provides users with the access to the cloud service, enable them to build, manage, scale, and deploy applications via internet. Azure launched on the 1st of February 2010 that have a data center in more than 42 regions around the world. They also say that 12 more data centers are in the making, which help them say they are the only cloud service provider that cover this many regions. Next, Azure is preferred by 80% of the first-time 500 companies, which means that the best in the market only choose to work with Azure. Finally, Azure is the second largest cloud service provider in the market right now. Now, let's talk about Azure service. Azure provides service for the right range of a service. They include AI machine learning, analytic, computing, container, database, networking, management tool, security, and many more.
For my part, I'm going to explain about the application of Azure. So the first application is scalability. Scalability is the ability to scale, and scaling is a process of allocating or deallocating resources. Resources might be means the virtual resources like CPU memory, but also a specific instance of the resources. The second application for Azure is elasticity. Elasticity is the ability to scale dynamically. Properly designed system will be able to relocate and deallocate resources whenever needed. The third application of Azure is agility. Agility is the ability to react quickly, and in cloud computing, it means the ability to allocate and deallocate resources quickly. Fourth application of Azure is the fault tolerance. Fault tolerance is the ability of the system to remain up and running during component and service failure. So the localized failures will not interrupt the service. And the fifth application is disaster recovery. Disaster is a serious disruption of service caused by natural or human-induced causes. The disaster that have been talked about are typically like floods, earthquake, thunderstorm, power grid failure, or human errors. Disaster recovery is the ability to recover from an event that has taken down the service disaster. And the last application for Azure is availability. Availability is a measure of system uptime for users or service. High availability is the ability to keep service running for extended period of time with very little downtime. Next, we're going to talk about how the Azure works. There are a few steps, which is the first one is Azure Portal, and then we move on to Azure API, also known as Application Programming Interface, and then Orchestrator, Network Switch, Fabric Controller, and Virtual Machine. So as you can see in my slide, one server in each rack is dedicated to running Microsoft bespoke software called a Fabric Controller. Each Fabric Controller is connected to another software that's called Orchestrator. The Orchestrator's job is to manage everything that's happened in Azure, which include responding to the user's requests. Users can make any request via the Orchestrator's web API. The web API can be called in many ways, including the traditional user interface of the Azure portal or by PowerShell. When a user requests to create a virtual machine, the orchestrators package everything in the request that is required, and then it will select the most suited server rack and send the package and request to the Fabric Controller. The Fabric Controller then creates the virtual machine, and then the user can connect to it. So in conclusion, Azure provides a secure and agile environment for developers and IT professionals to deploy and manage their application and services. That's all for me. We move to the next presenter. Thank you.
So I will continue the presentation with the difficulties and challenges in implementing Azure Cloud. Migration refers to transitioning workloads currently running on premises to the Azure Cloud. Azure Migrate is a service that helps you assess the migration suitability of on-premise virtual machine to Azure. Azure Site Recovery migrates virtual machines from on-premises or from Amazon Web Services. Azure Database Migration assists you in migrating database sources to Azure data platforms. There are 10 of migration challenges, which are dealing with mental paradigm shift, provisioning enough local bandwidth, system downtime planning, security issues, managing and monitoring applications, applications compatibility, dealing with existing dependencies, database migration problems, virtual machines compatibility, and the last one is disaster recovery planning. The second is Azure Cost Management Challenge. Azure Cost Management is a free Azure server, cost monitoring and Azure Storage Cost Calculator tool from Microsoft. It's designed to help you better understand and utilize all your cloud resources, including Azure. As part of its Azure Cost Monitoring, Azure Cost Management includes several tools to help you track your cloud usage and expenditures on Azure, so you can better understand your expenses. These tools include the Azure Price Calculator, Azure Cost Analysis, Azure Cost Alerts, Azure Budgets, and Azure Advisor Recommendations. Taken together, all these Azure hosting cost monitoring solutions help users keep an eye on their spending, whether it's their monthly, weekly, or daily spending, and help them set their budgets with the built-in Microsoft Azure Cost Estimators tool. The last one is Governance Challenge. Governance provides mechanism and process to maintain control over your applications and resources in Azure. It involves planning your initiatives and setting strategic priorities. Governance in Azure is primarily implemented with two services. Azure Policy allows you to create, assign, and manage policy definitions to enforce rules for your resources. This feature keeps those resources in compliance with your corporate standards. Azure Cost Management allows you to track cloud usage and expenditures for your Azure resources and other cloud providers. So this is the countermeasure and solutions for the challenge. So this is the solutions of migration challenge. The first one is dealing with mental paradigm shift. It is good to thoroughly understand the unique attributes of Azure and the mental shift that can occur in cloud adoption. The second one is a system downtime planning. It is carefully to estimate the downtime that each migration step can cause and try to spread it out across Azure migration steps to have minimal impact. The third one is dealing with existing dependencies. Various dependencies should be taken into account while migrating an application to cloud, and connection configuration should be determined to prevent serious service interruptions in Azure migration process. The fourth one is provisioning enough local bandwidth, which is in the case of hybrid solutions, note that the traffic that previously ran over high-speed, low-latency LAN will now run over the WAN. The next is database migration problems. It is good to identify and predict compatibility issues between Azure storage and the existing application storage, like unsupported functions. Azure database specialists can help in fixing the Azure migration process. The next one is security issues. It is good to consider implementing a virtual private network with end-to-end encryptions to safeguard apps from the database breaches. As for the virtual machine compatibility, IS migration includes many existing virtual machines, but verify the compatibility of each VM mean for migration. Proof Azure is an excellent VM hosting choice with wide compatibility for VMS from Windows Server 2008 R2 to Linux VMS. And the next is managing and monitoring applications. It is good to ensure to acknowledge the service level agreement and capacity planning strategy needed for your migration process. The next one is application compatibility. It is good to run the application in an Azure test environment to discover any serious compatibility issues and ensure a successful migrations to Azure without any service disruptions. And then the last one is disaster recovery planning, which is it is very important to have a robust disaster recovery plan in place to overcome any catastrophic data loss or application errors. So let's move on for the solutions of cost management challenge. The first one is implementing reserved VM instances, a programmatic way of committing to a set number of virtual machines and sizes for a set period of time. Second is right-sizing VMS, a way of maximizing use of existing resources at the lowest cost possible. And as for the scheduling VMS to start or stop, it is good to involve analyzing usage patterns and considering availability to start and stop virtual machine based on usage. And the last one is picking the right Azure cost monitoring tool. SolarWinds Server and Application Monitor are the common tools that have been used as it monitors Azure environment, giving insights to help in understand costs and whether those costs are necessary. The last part is solutions for governance challenge. The first one is resources solution. It is good to ensure to configure Azure resources to meet your tenants isolation requirements. Second, data management. Consider how you isolate, store, access, and aggregate tenants' data. Uncover tenants' expectations and requirements that could affect how your solutions work. And then isolation. Review the architectural approach for storage and data in multi-tenant solutions to understand how to isolate tenants' data. Consider whether tenants have requirements to use their own data encryption scheme. And last one is sovereignty. It is good to understand whether there are any restrictions on the physical locations for your tenants' data that's to be stored or processed. Your tenants might require you to store their data in specific geographic location.
As a conclusion, faced with the rising cost, global impact of the COVID-19 and shifting competitive landscape, manufacturers are under pressure to optimize the operation and get the higher quality product to market faster. By Microsoft Azure IoT can help manufacturers meet this challenging objective using actionable insight in real-time visibility into the production. Microsoft Azure IoT provides the foundation for a smart, agile, and highly secure intelligent edge solution informed by artificial intelligence and machine learning. Azure IoT delivers predictive insight to monitor equipment health and alert operator to potential issue, so customer can take action and keep the production line running smoothly. Azure IoT enables Industry 4.0 and more resilient and sustainable future. Increase uptime, optimize overall equipment's effectiveness, and improve production quality and efficiency with the Microsoft partner solution built on Azure IoT. Lastly, for the reference, the idea is come out from the 4 of the journal and also 3 from the YouTube link. That's all from us. Thank you for the watching. Bye bye.